Okay, YouTubers, this is Joe from ArtAlienTV. Another quick game of interplanetary ice spike going on here, back on Mars, back in Gale Crater, and we're looking at this image. This is the main one from Sol 416. Now, this was taken a few years ago now, back on Mars, in Gale Crater, of course. And we have this image with this rather strange stone block here. Okay, links will be below for all these things, so you can check them out yourself and prove that I'm not making this up. I've got it here in the Gigapan. This one is by Todd, Sol 416 and 417. I've also got this Gigapan up, which is just Sol 416, and this one's by Neville Thompson. Another cracking job by him. And I'm just going to quickly run you through some of the things in this area, and then we're going to concentrate on the specific items that I've picked out. Okay, right, so let's start with this. Let's start with this Gigapan. We've got this block here. I'm going to go full screen. Now, forgive me if this sounds a little bit odd. I'm using my old netbook here. My main laptop is in repair, and I should be getting it back later today, but I haven't been able to use that now for about a week and a half. It's completely died on me. Had to have a new hard disk put in there, but it's all working fine now apparently, so that's good. So if this sounds a bit different and looks a bit different, it's not in full HD, so I won't be uploading this in full HD, so it will probably look a bit fuzzy and a bit blurred. So here we go. We have this rather strange block here, and let me show you where to look on the Gigapan. I'll zoom right out. It's near the center. Actually, it's not near the center at all. It's towards the left of the image, near the middle ridge here that comes down. And there's a lot of odd things in this Gigapan here. Loads of weird looking rocks. Some of them look like they're cut, like this one. And this one seems to have an impossible angle to it. Just here, it doesn't seem to match up with the ground that kind of looks fairly flat behind it. It almost looks like this bit of ground here has been faked, and perhaps this rock or block came straight down into the sand here. It has a perfectly straight edge along the bottom here, and a very straight edge here. Now, this may be a natural rock, but it doesn't look it. It looks like a cut stone block that's been eroded and pitted by thousands of years of severe cold weather conditions and heating and cooling. Okay, so it just doesn't look right, and it did remind me of something I published a while ago, purely because of this rather strange angle here that doesn't seem to look right, and it kind of looks like an optical illusion. It's very similar to this thing, which is what I coined the Mars cash register. Okay, it's not a cash register, but it's just a very odd shaped object, and it doesn't look like a rock, and it also has that rather weird angle, like it's kind of propped up. I'll play that through a tiny bit just to remind you, in case some of you haven't seen this. I published this a while ago and got it in the newspapers as well, so it did quite well for a while, went a bit viral for a few days. And it has this really odd angle and a straight edge here and a straight edge here, but it's also got these weird lever-like structures on it. In fact, it's got what looks like a plant or some kind of growth on top. This may be a technical object, but it may not be. It may be a rock with some kind of growth on it. Very odd indeed. But it has these little square box type parts to it, almost like one of these. I'm not saying it is a cash register, it just is shaped like one, an old-fashioned antique one in fact. That's just an image comparison. That doesn't mean that's what it is, of course. This is just a shape comparison. Also compared it to the Enigma machine, so you can check that out if you like. There'll be a link to that at the end of the video. Okay, so this is the main image. I'll try and get all the raw images as well for each separate object that I'm going to show you, which will all be in the description, so you can download them and check them yourself. And the Gigapan should work on your mobile device as well. It doesn't take up loads of memory. So there were a few other things in here, and some of these were really, really odd, including this thing. Now, this thing I'm looking at now is on both Gigapans, but it's actually clearer in this one by Neville Thompson because there's slightly more contrast here, and it's near the center of the image towards the right. Okay, let's have a look. Yeah, it's actually quite long, so it's just here. You've got this big flat kind of rock here, and you go up to the left of it and you have a carved head. And you don't have to do anything to this image to see it. I haven't altered this in any way. This is as it comes. And you can see 2 eyes and a nose and a mouth with teeth. And a funny shaped head, like some kind of gargoyle or troll or something. Perhaps he's an internet troll. And some strange kind of structures to the side of it here, which I don't quite understand. But let's just zoom right in and have a look at that. You can see 2 eyes and nose. It doesn't get much clearer. But if you take an image clip of this, which is what I did, and increase the contrast and brightness, it really stands right out. And it's really not difficult to do. I'll show you that now. And there's a few other things I found in this Gigapan which are really interesting, including some other possible statues. Now here's that clip. I've really brightened that up and added some contrast, and that's what you get. Another statue head, and this will go in the collection, of course. I've got over 30 now. I'll put a link at the end of the video to my statue collection, so you can check out the other ones. Not all of them found by me, most of them were, but a few of them were found by other researchers. So if you find anything like this on Mars and it's nice and clear, send me a link. You can post it on Mars Magazine, my Facebook group. And if it's any good, I may do a video, and who knows, it may end up on a TV show like Ancient Aliens one day, who knows. If I get asked back, hopefully I will one day. So, there we have it. A gargoyle or troll-like statue head. Rather small, probably only about 4 or 5 inches wide, I'd say, from there to there. So, not huge. So there was that. There was also this thing. Now, this was really quite interesting. And what I did, let's find the larger clip of it. Is that the large clip? No, let's get that one up there. Let me show you it in the actual Gigapan first. I'll try and find it again. There's a lot to look through here. And I'm not going to go through everything here because I'm sure you guys out there will find some interesting stuff as well that I've missed. You've got these strange, slightly sort of gravity-defying rocks like this one. And then you've got the box or block in the centre, which this really looks odd because of this angle here. Really odd looking thing. It looks completely wrong. It almost looks like it's been put there, or it's balanced on this very thin bottom edge here. Okay, see how that sticks up, that angle? It's absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make any visual sense. Now, I know these images are hard to get your head around sometimes because they are a bit blurry. They can be, but these aren't bad. There are a lot worse ones I've seen, and this may be an example of obfuscation by NASA. They may have cloned some sand and pebbles over this area here. Maybe there was something here, or maybe it went right down into the sand. Who knows? But either way, very interesting optical illusion, that one. What I call an optical rock illusion. So you've got to question these things because sometimes they look completely wrong, but it may just be the angle of the camera causing it to look rather odd, and the lighting and stuff. There's also this rather strange rock here. I don't know what that is. Maybe nothing of any significance. Now, where was that other statue? There was a kind of big... There he is. There's this thing. Okay. Now, this is a really weird kind of rectangular rock with what looks like an arm down one side and a head on top, kind of resting on top. Okay. So I'll show you that in the folder I've got because I've really brightened that up. And here it is. I've really brightened the thing up and added a bit of contrast to it as well, just to maintain the shadows. And you have what looks like a head resting on top of this thing. Maybe it's part of it. Is it a statue? Maybe, maybe not. But if you look at it closely, there seems to be a mouth, a nose and 2 eyes with a sort of head. And it seems to be kind of resting on this rock here. Now, is that part of a statue? Is this a statue? If it is, it's very odd. you know, if that is a shoulder here, it's very square, so it probably isn't. But what it may be is actually a statue facing away from us, and this isn't a face on there at all. In fact, that may be the back of the head, and this may be hair, and it just happens to look a bit like a face, and the pareidolia has done the rest for us. So who knows? That was interesting. I got the image and I clipped it again, and I straightened it out as well. Let's have a look at that one, where I've rotated it, and you can see where I've rotated it here just to straighten it out. Interesting. Now, is that a statue or is it something else? Hard to say, but either way it's interesting if you ask me, even from a geological point of view, or this may even be coral or something like that on top. This may have been some kind of plant or something, who knows, but it does kind of look like a face. But of course, faces don't necessarily mean anything. You can find faces almost anywhere in rocks. But when you look at three-dimensional objects, you have to look at the other parts of the object and get them into context as well. And the fact that there are so many statues in this area of Mars, in Gale Crater, means that you have to at least consider it as a possibility. And there was this one. Now, this one is, I showed a raw clip. It's quite bright. This is from a lower part of the Gigapan. And you have what looks like another statue head here with a mouth, a rather strange pig-like nose, and two eyes. Let's get a bit closer to that, okay? And this kind of looks like hair almost. Very odd indeed. I'll show you the enhancement of that. I think that's the last enhancement. I haven't done much to this. I've just brightened it, probably a bit too much, and added some contrast there. Chin, mouth with something in the mouth, nose with big nostrils going back here, and possibly an eye there and possibly an eye there. A kind of ear-like structure here, and hair, perhaps. Is that a carving? It looks like rock, but it might not be. Some of these things may be mummified in a sort of Pompeii type way. Couldn't really say either way. It's a little bit vague. Let me show you where to find that on the Gigapan. Let's get that up now. I think it's on this one, which is the one by Todd, which is 416, 417. And when you zoom out of this, it's got another part to it down here. And it was in one of these extra parts, I think, that I found it. So I could be wrong. I don't think it's there. I can't actually remember where it is, but I'm pretty sure it's in one of these. You're just going to have to look through them yourself and find it. Okay, I don't want to waste too much time here because these videos can get quite long. So it's definitely there, and I'll show you it again. Yeah, it's in that one, 416 and 417. So there's quite a lot of stuff to see here. There's the clip of that, which is a closer clip of the possible statue thing, or head. A bit vague. You really need to brighten that up to see it, and it's not really hard to do that, of course. Simple processing will do that. Let's have another look at that again here. Brightened up. I'll put all these in again at the end anyway, so you can have a proper look at these and study them, and there'll be a whole bunch of them, and I'll show the raw images next to them so you can see that I really haven't done much to them to bring them out. Okay, so that was about it really. I mean, the point is with these Gigapans, they're much easier to get a sense of scale and context, and it makes you realise how small a lot of these things are. There's also this rock here, which is got a lovely clean cut to it there, like it's a block, half buried, like a little stone block. Probably part of a building. There were buildings in this area. NASA, just because someone at NASA in a white coat and a clipboard hasn't confirmed it, doesn't mean they're not there. NASA are not really allowed to announce that there was life on Mars, because of course not only are they going there again, but the Chinese and everyone else are going there, and the Europeans. We're going to be colonising Mars, and of course there will be private companies going to Mars to mine the gold and all the other lovely minerals up there. So it's not in their interests to tell us that there was a civilization on Mars, of course, because they want to make millions or billions and billions or trillions of dollars of profit selling us the materials that they get from there. Okay, so they're not going to freely admit that, and I mean, NASA probably, I have spoken to people from NASA privately, and they do admit it privately, but they're never going to come out in public and say this because they're not allowed to. The military in the US have got them tied up on this one, and are restricting their, should I say, possible disclosure of what's up on the Mars surface, okay? So we get this constant sort of story about them trying to find microbial life. In fact, they found a crinoid fossil on Mars in 2007, which they then destroyed with the Opportunity rover's abrasion tool. So, and this is a well-known secret, what you might call a well-known fact now. And people from NASA that were working on the mission at the time have admitted this, and whistleblowers have come out and said that there is definitely stuff there. Some of these so-called whistleblowers are probably fake to try and throw everyone off the scent. Some of these people that claim to have been on Mars for 10 years or whatever, doing military service up there, that may or may not be true. I couldn't say either way, but some of the facts just do not add up. And there's a distinct lack of facts about what they saw on the ground and the various species that live there. There's a distinct lack of facts and detail when it comes to this. And that says to me that a lot of these stories are probably made up, or perhaps the people were hypnotized. Perhaps they thought they'd gone to Mars. In fact, they were probably in a cell somewhere. Who knows? Perhaps they were drugged. Don't know. They may well be telling the truth. But there we go. That's my opinion. I may well be proved right or wrong on that. Okay, so that was it really. There's lots of stuff to look at in here, and the main thing, of course, was that block, which just looks totally wrong in my eyes. It may just be me, but this ground behind is lower than this little ridge here. So how could it be sat at that angle? Although we do have this rock, which is sort of in line with it behind. So maybe that's just a fact of the pasty kind of sand making your eyes think it's closer or further away. Who knows? But either way, that is a very interesting rock, and it does have this very straight edge to it here. Interesting. And of course, these may not be statues. This may just be a rock that looks like a statue head, but what are the chances of a mouth with teeth appearing like that under a nose and two eyes? There's no visible ear on this possible carving, but there we go. A lot of them don't. A lot of the statues I found don't seem to have ears at all. Some of them have got very big ears. And this is really cool. I mean, grinning like a Cheshire cat. I mean, it's just insane. Perhaps some of our, like I've said before, perhaps some of our mythological creatures like trolls and some of these gargoyles were inspired by tales from Mars. Who knows? And it may explain some of the rather strange stories and myths that we have on this planet. And perhaps some of our religions even come from there. So some of these carvings may be of noblemen or important people, but most of them seem, or many of them seem, quite comical looking, and also rather ugly, I must say, like we would call a troll. So apologies to any YouTube trolls out there, or I'm not meaning to offend anybody by using the word troll, because I really do think a lot of the trolls that we get on YouTube are actually bots. And in fact, when you check them out and you look at their YouTube page, they don't have any content at all. They have no picture. They often have no. They don't even have a playlist or anything. They have no current activity. And also you get them on Facebook now as well, on some of our Mars groups. You get them and you check out, they've got no friends and stuff like that, so they've got fake accounts. So a lot of these are not necessarily bots, but they are possibly sock puppets. In other words, they are people with fake accounts going around trying to control the narrative on Facebook and promote rather weird propaganda and stuff like that. So there we go. Perhaps they look like this. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope that wasn't too long to you. Please give the video the thumbs up and share on social media if you can, and I will see you soon. Thanks for watching.